I'm attorney Justin Clark. Coming up just ahead on You Have Real Estate, two major questions. Prices are up. How much are your property taxes going to go up? Also, when are these prices going to stop skyrocketing? We'll answer that and more. It's just ahead. It's You Have Real Estate.
If you've been threatened by the IRS, you're not helpless. I'm attorney Justin Clark. You have the power to fight wage garnishments and to fight levies on your account. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life.
This is a special offer from IQ Power Solar.
Stop paying high electric bills with a solar power system from IQ Power Solar. And now it's never been easier. IQ Power Solar can give you immediate electric bill relief right now when you go solar. IQ Power Solar will reimburse you for your very next electric bill. Plus, if you're a first responder, IQ Power Solar will pay your program payment for the rest of the year. Call 407-585-1018 now or visit iqpowersolar.com.
And welcome to You Have Real Estate with me, attorney Justin Clark. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, seasoned investor, renting, or even looking to sell your house, this next 30 minutes is designed just for you. Think of it like hitting multiple open houses, all from your living room, but with my attorney advice throughout the way. Any questions whatsoever, have people standing by to answer them. Write down the phone number, 407-205-0400. As always, if you want to start your house hunt, you're going to need a pre-approval, especially in this market. Dallas Lehman with You Have Mortgages standing by to get you pre-approved today. In fact, I heard a little rumor that my buddy Dallas bought a new house just the other day, and people ask me on the street all the time, Justin, I see you on that real estate show on TV. What are the rates like? I don't know who better to ask than Dallas Lehman himself. Dallas, congrats on the new house, and what's going on out there mortgage-wise?
Thanks, Justin. I'm here every week to answer your calls, questions, and provide your free pre-approvals. I really enjoy helping people celebrate refinancing to a historic low rate or purchasing their dream home. Now for me, this is my 2.875% 30-year smile for my own home purchase this month because I like to practice what I preach. I also like to share great news. Call me today and let's get you your best loan scenario while these historic low rates last. It only makes sense to get started now. Your Under One Roof team is always here to help you.
And now, without further ado, it's time for the opening statement. The opening statement today is brought to you by my buddy Stephen Bader, IQ Power Solar. As you know, I went solar last year. I'm saving $350 a month during the summer months on my air conditioning bill, electric bill in general, really, but also I was going to owe the money to the IRS last year, but because I went solar and because of the tax credit, I actually didn't have to write a check at all. Steve, tell me how you did it. Live here on site with the COO of IQ Power Solar, Stephen Bader. I already had solar installed on my house. I wanted to see his crew in action against Steve. You must admit, this is the most talented crew in all of solar.
I'm pretty happy with it.
The guys are doing a great job up there, obviously, professional. I mean, solar can have some people and some businesses that aren't so good. What separates IQ Power Solar?
Well, it's really valuable to have your own install crew instead of subcontractors, etc. So these guys work together year after year. They've done a lot of trainings together. Every time there's a new product that comes to market, they go to manufacturer trainings. We're actually a warranty center for a lot of manufacturers, which is really cool, and it distinguishes us, especially when it comes to servicing. But really, it's just about cohesiveness. You know, these guys, they get here in the morning, they review the engineer drawings together. Sometimes they review the drawings in the office on a chalkboard environment when there's problems and stuff like that. But they lay it out and then just execute. So it's really cool when they have a lot of experience together, just like anything else.
There's something to be said for one truck, two trucks, three trucks, all with the logo on there. Everyone has the same shirt, IQ Power Solar. I mean, this is a real professional organization.
We try.
And Stephen Bader, IQ Power Solar, thanks for coming out today.
Of course.
Okay, two major questions we must answer today. Number one, if I own a primary or rental home, how much are my taxes going to go up this year and next year? I think it's a very valid question. A lot of people are concerned about that because really, at the end of the day, the only thing you care about monthly is your PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Insurance going up, but the values are going up as well, so that has to mean your taxes are going to go up as well. Also, when is this bubble going to pop? Is it going to pop? We were all here together in 2008 when the foreclosure crisis really took over America and certainly took over Florida. I've never seen a market as crazy as this market is here now. Little hint, I don't think we're going to have anything like what happened in 2008. But when do the values stop going up so quickly is another question we're going to answer today. I've just never seen anything like this. Should you buy? How do you take advantage of this market? Should you sell? How do you take advantage of selling right now? Those are the questions that we're going to answer, and we're going to do so by asking real questions. Every Saturday here in You Have Real Estate, we ask real questions to the truly trend-setting people in Central Florida's real estate community. Very happy to be joined again by return visitor David Johnson, your Seminole County property appraiser. Hello, David. How are you?
Great, Justin. Thanks for having me again.
I always feel like I can't decide if I want to say David or Mr. Johnson. Elected officials, I don't know what to do.
David. Absolutely,
okay,
David.
Thank you. I feel so much better now.
I would be uncomfortable with Mr. Johnson.
Thank you very much. And for the first time, I've never even met you. We've talked 100 times.
Absolutely.
Steve Looper with Charles Ruttenberg down in Ritzy Winter Park.
Yes. Steve, thank you so much for having me on the show today.
You got it. Nice to finally meet you. I feel like I've known you already, of course.
We have a little bit of a connection there.
It's called the horse shows, and you don't want to hear about it. You don't want to hear about it. Trust me, David. Let me start with you. Okay, people are concerned a little bit because when you go and buy that house, you see the PITI payment, and you have a fixed mortgage rate. And I think in people's head they think, well, this is going to be my payment for the next 30 years. That's not exactly accurate because the T and the I part of the PITI is taxes and insurance. I know for a fact insurance rates are going up. There was a new bill earlier this week that was signed that's going to make the insurance rates go up even more, but the taxes are based on value.
Correct.
What do you see happening now in the tax assessor's or the property appraiser's office when it comes to real estate taxes?
So there's two trains, if you will, running on parallel tracks here. Those folks who have an existing homestead and have been in their home for a number of years and have not sold or done anything with it, their taxes are going to change very little because there are caps that are provided by the Florida Constitution that limit the amount of an increase in assessment between 3% or the CPI, whichever is less.
Okay.
This year, it's 1.4% is the CPI. So those existing property owners who have not done anything with their property, that's homesteaded, they will see maybe a $20 or $30 increase in their taxes year over year. Where we get the phone calls, and sometimes their realtor friends will get a call back, or even their mortgage person, they'll go, hey, the prior owner was only paying X dollars, okay? I just got my notice of proposed property taxes and it's doubled or it's tripled. And what that means is because the way the law works is the value gets reset when the property sells. And so that cap that we were talking about goes away. So that becomes the shock. The good news is after it gets reset, it's stable until you sell the property again. And so those are the phone calls that we hear from, and certainly it's a shock to folks going forward, especially in an active market like this.
And I think that's a very good point. And Steve, when you're working with buyers, I mean, a lot of times you're not selling a house based on $300,000 or $350,000 when you're working with a buyer. You're selling a house based on what their payment's going to be every month because they know exactly what's coming in income-wise, so they know what their payment needs to be. Almost like buying a car. How do you talk through that with a buyer when they're saying, okay, what is my payment going to be if I pay $300,000 for this house, knowing you've got to reevaluate the taxes a little bit?
Right. That's an important question to ask because a lot of buyers, they look at the MLS sheet. The MLS sheet will show property taxes from 2020, and then you've got to let them know, like, hey, it's $3,800, but that's $3,800 what the seller is paying. You're going to get reassessed. A lot of times I'll drive the buyers back to a tax collector's site, the tax estimator calculator. Also running through their mortgage company. It's important to have a really good mortgage company that can run those taxes. They give them a good idea of what the new payment's going to be. And it is a shock. A lot of times it's a shock for buyers.
Totally agree. So let me ask you, this is for both of you, and let me start with you, Steve, because I've been saying on this show for a while that I believe this to be the hottest real estate market in any of our lifetimes. I don't care how old you are. I believe this market is hotter and certainly different than what happened in 2006.
Right.
You can disagree. Go ahead.
Not going to disagree. Can't do it. This is my 17th year, and in that time, I've got to agree. It's by far the hottest market. The difference, which it should make a lot of buyers feel much more comfortable versus what happened prior, more cash. I feel like there's more cash in this market than ever before. And a lot of buyers, they're coming they're not paying cash, but they're paying down the mortgage. They're coming to the table with cash. So I don't see the bubble. You said that prior about the bubble popping.
Yeah.
I don't see a bubble. It's going to be an adjustment prior at some point, but not a bubble.
What do you see? I know you don't have a crystal ball in any way, David, but what do you see happening over the next few months or even years?
So I agree with Steve and you that there's not a bubble. This is different than the mid-2000s. First of all, also the vetting that's done by the mortgage companies to not get people into unintended consequences and overqualifying them. So that's those stopgaps are there, and that's all good stuff. To where I think this is going is I think the rate of increase in value will slow down over the next year or so. We have a lot of in-migration, even more so than we've typically had, and Steve spoke to this, from other parts of the country. People are bringing a lot of cash with them, a lot of equity from prior homes, and they're buying that down and getting into a home here in Central Florida. It's a little bit less expensive. But I think the rate of increase slows down, but we are not in a bubble. Anybody that's waiting, I'm going to wait another year because prices are going to decline. That's just not going to happen.
No, I totally agree. Now, are we going to continue on these astronomical increases? I don't think so. But look, I was here in 2006. I bought a house in 2006, and then my law firm was probably the biggest foreclosure defense firm in town, starting in really late 2007, but certainly 2008 through recently almost. But think about it like this. The prices in 2006, and number one, they were giving away mortgages like candy. You could work at a very, very low wage job and they would give you a lot of money. Like I always say, a pulse and a pen got you a mortgage in 2006. And that was the biggest problem that we have. But think about it. The 2006 prices, we did not get back to those numbers until maybe last year, at 15 years, 14 and 15 years later. So I think the market now, while, it's gone up a lot over the last year, it's not that crazy high if you think about it. And then compare our prices to New York or Connecticut or even California. Everyone's leaving those states we know and coming here. But if you look at the average home price, us in Florida versus them, we're not in bad shape.
No.
And when you compare us to even South Florida, we're a bargain. And we obviously seen that all occurring too. People moving up within the state from South Florida and to Central Florida. So we're in good shape.
This is a question I've been asking a lot of people, and it's a difficult one to answer. And David, let me start with you on this. So I'm a homeowner, okay? It's my primary home, and I'm like, wow, I could really sell this house for a lot of money, and I could sell this house for a lot of money quickly. But I have kids. I have to live somewhere. It's a real sort of dichotomy if you think about it. I mean, what do you think you do in that situation? What would you do?
Well, and it is certainly a problem because, and I think that's why we have an inventory issue, and Steve may be able to speak to this a little bit more. I think people want to sell, but they're concerned. It's like, where do I go? And unless they're leaving the state or moving to another part of the state, they know what the Central Florida market looks like. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation. I think you just have to evaluate your own individual circumstances. If you've got a huge amount of equity in the property and you're willing to maybe rent something for a little bit until the right product comes along, or you're building something and you're waiting for that product to get done, then I think it's a good time to sell. But it's certainly something someone has to take and factor that in when they're making those decisions.
So I'm a potential seller. Steve Looper's my guy. Hey, Steve, how are you? Oh, great to hear from you. You're going to come to my house. I'm thinking about listing my property. Can you tell me what it's worth? But then they're going to ask the question, okay, well, where am I going to live after you sell it? You must be getting that question. And what is the solution to that question?
So I get that question a lot, more than I would like. But it's the same conversation you're having now. The property is a great value. Yeah, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. A good option, rent. Rent for a bit. evaluate where you're going to move later down the road. Could you stay in the same area? Sure, you can keep the kids in the same area, get a great rental, sell at the top of the market or at a healthy market, sell the property, benefit from it, take the equity, invest it, sit, evaluate, watch, buy again. So there's going to be, it's a give and take. Like you said, it's a very give and take market, but I just did it myself personally. I knew it was the right time. I evaluated the market. I thought about the consequences of keeping it longer. I thought for me, it's the best solution. Sell, I'm going to rent. And I'm an agent myself, so I practice what I preach. So I don't preach renting, I preach buying, but I also buy smart. And I take the time to evaluate.
And I think the other thing is this is a huge investment.
Yeah, of course.
So one thing to run to Target and pick up something that you don't like. Okay, but when you're investing a lot of money, I think if you sit back, sell something, sit back, reevaluate where you are, and make sure you're making a good decision for you and your family. Not rush into something unless you just absolutely have to.
Yeah.
So,
and it helps to have good professionals that you trust around you to talk through this, because what I've noticed is when it's your own life, sometimes you can make some bad decisions because you're so invested in it. When you can talk it through with someone you trust, like a Steve, and say, what do you think? Their answer will seem so simple, but it makes so much sense. And you say, why didn't I think of that? But real talk for a second, and something I've seen a lot of. I have a family who they own a house, they have a mortgage, $200,000. They look and see that their house is worth $400,000 or $500,000, yet they're not doing well financially. But they don't want to move because they don't want to uproot Johnny or Sarah, whatever, the kids, but they have no money in the bank. And I got to tell you, I think that if really you're struggling that much financially, it's not the worst thing in the world to have a couple $100,000 in the bank where you're not so stressed every week about not being able to put food on the table, or even look at a refinance or something where you can have. I wouldn't be afraid to cash out, is what I'm saying. If you're really struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, week to week, I think your kids are fine moving. I think they'd rather find another house. No, mom and dad are not going to be super stressed every night knowing that there's no money in the bank. Don't be afraid to use that cash.
No, absolutely not. And I think another thing is reminding buyers that it should be, your home is an investment. Like it. Never love it. Be willing to let it go.
Good point.
There's a lot of people I come across every day and they're like, but I love it. It's where we brought our kids home from.
Yeah.
No, stop right there. Detach from it. It's just an investment. So I think that's an important thing that any agent you work with should be able to tell you that.
Totally agree. Now, another thing that's important, and David, you and I were talking about it before, no one knows more about this than you. And by the way, your staff, especially Katie, it's just fantastic.
Well,
I mean, she's back behind the scenes there. She's always been so great to work with. And the people of Seminole County are lucky to have you. Absolutely. And Katie is what it really is. But so I'm an alarming amount of people come in and they live in a house, it's their primary home, but they haven't applied for the homestead exemption. Can you tell me what that is, first of all, and how do I make sure I have it?
Sure.
And if I don't have it, what do I do?
So, real simple. It's very, very important. It saves you about $700 a year in property taxes. But more importantly, what we talked about in the beginning of the show, it caps how much your value can go up from year to year to the lesser of 3% or the CPI. The market's increasing 8, 9, 10% a year.
Right.
That directly affects you hugely. The statute says that you need to apply for homestead exemption by March 1st of any given year. And to qualify for that, you have had title to the property and you have had to live in it by December 31st of the prior year. The statute also goes on to say that as the property appraiser and my 66 other colleagues, I can accept late filed applications for homestead exemption. We do that every day. We're doing that currently. We certainly want most people to, fall within that time frame to file for. But if you've missed that deadline and you owned your home as of January the 1st and it's your primary resident, please call us, go online, and on our website, you pull up your property by your name, your address, it will tell you do you have homestead exemption? Yes or no?
Right.
And if you don't, it will link you to the online portal to apply. It takes 5 minutes. It's very simple. So please do not leave that money on the table. It's very important.
I think if you own a house right now, what you need to do is go to your computer or do it on your phone and make sure you have the homestead exemption. It only makes sense for so many different reasons.
Right. And I know a lot of good realtors like Steve, they follow up with their clients that
Smart.
last year they bought a house and they said, hey, remind you to don't forget. And what we also do in Seminole County is we send out a postcard every 30 days to all the prior property sales that occurred in the last 30 days, reminding people, please go online, pre-file for the next year.
Great.
And so we try to be as proactive as we can with that process.
Absolutely. Speaking of Steve, you brought some listings to show us.
Yes, I did.
This is everyone's favorite part of the show. When I shut up and we show what's actually out there on the market right now. Derek, who, by the way, worked late last night putting these together. Thank you, Derek Moser, as always. Show me West Smith Street. Where is this?
College Park.
College Park.
College Park, you cannot miss this. It's just blocks from Edgewater, an adorable bungalow, 1940s, remodeled, original wood floors, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 half bath. It's super unique for the area because of the half bath. A great open floor plan, and it's a deal for that area. Of course, the wonderful thing I love about College Park is the enormous lots. Super deep, so if you had to do an expansion, add a pool, whatever you want to do, it's really, the options are endless there.
I had a kid 8 years ago and I was forced to leave downtown to the suburbs, so College Park is almost like the city to me now.
Yeah.
Who lives in College Park? Are these people who are now empty nesters? Are these young professionals? What is College Park like now?
Yeah, now this is a conversation I always have with buyers when they want to know who lives there.
Yeah.
And I always say, this is the new family. This is the young professional. The people who love to walk down to the jazz festival on Edgewater. You go to the mid-century Publix, that's right there. You've got character, flair, so much arts and entertainment there. It's an amazing place. I love College Park.
It is nice. Good restaurants too.
Amazing restaurants. Come on.
So if you'd like to see this property, I'll hook you up with Steve right now. 407-205-0400. Property number 2. Now, Steve, clearly I know how to pronounce this, but I want to let you do it for our audience.
Yeah, it's Lachelle.
Thank you. I'm glad I didn't try. Go ahead.
Yes, now this is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, just under 2,500 square feet. Again, it's been well cared for, well loved, wood floors. This property is going to be listed for $434,900. Hunters Creek. If you don't know Hunters Creek, it's an amazing area, great schools. Again, it's one of those areas. You've got College Park, you go a little further out, you have Hunters Creek. Open floor plan. Master is downstairs, which is important to know for any homeowners that do not want to go up these flight of stairs to their master bedroom. You've got it downstairs. Large lot, and it's an amazing house again. It's ready, move-in ready.
And as Dallas was saying earlier, at 2.8%, $434,000, your payment's maybe a couple of grand PITI.
Right.
You can't rent this house for $2,000, I can assure you
No,
that.
and that's the important thing to remember on when you're bringing up interest rates. You cannot rent for what the mortgage payment is going to be on either of these properties. You've got Smith Street, that one's going to be at $429,900, and Lachelle, that one's going to be at $434,900. When you run the mortgage payments, well below what you would pay for rent. So
Totally agree. Excellent job. If you'd like to see any of these properties, you want to talk to Steve about listing your house, the phone number's on the screen, 407-205-0400. Excellent job. Do you have a few more minutes? Can you stick around for the Real Estate Roundtable?
Sure. Yeah,
Excellent. Let's do it. And without further ado, it's time for your portion of the show. It's the Real Estate Roundtable. Every Saturday, I answer your questions from throughout the week. Here's what you do. Go to the Facebook page. You have real estate. Send me a message right there, and I might just answer your question next week here on the TV show. Maria in Marion County. Hey, Justin, I love watching the show, and I love watching Best of Central Florida on YouTube as well. Thank you very much, Maria. That's nice. This is for Mr. Johnson. Where do my tax dollars really go?
So, local property taxes is the largest primary funding source for local government. They don't go to the federal government. They don't go to the state government. Those are the roads you drive on. Those are the parks. Most importantly, it's the schools. about 50 to 53% of your local property taxes is going to the school system
Yeah.
in the community that you live in. So it's hugely important. It's your investment in the community, and it's stuff that you feel, taste every day.
And let me tell you something. You go to New Jersey and look at the property taxes there, you're going to feel lucky
Yeah.
to live in Florida, and many other states same. I mean,
No,
we're
it's
kind of
a
right there in the
fraction.
middle,
Yeah.
yet no state income tax.
Right,
So, I mean, I don't ever complain about the property taxes here in Florida. Brandon in Maitland, I'm renting a 2-bedroom at $1,600 a month right now. Should I buy a house now? Steve, that's probably a question you get often.
The answer is always
Yeah.
yes. It is time to buy. $1,600 a month. When you think about that in mortgage dollars, I mean, really, you could easily be under the $250 mark. So you could get a condo if you love the condo living, townhouse, single family. The options are out there. So now's the time to act.
Got it. Lastly, Cindy in Tennessee, love the show on clickorlando.com. Is now the time for us to buy our beach house in Florida, gentlemen? Primary home's an easier question. Beach
Yeah.
house, I don't know. It's a tough question.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you got to remember beach property, it's only going up.
Yeah.
That property doesn't get
Finite.
affected like a residential in a community because it's so taste specific. So buy it if it's what you love and what you need, do it.
What do you think?
There's a lot of, I will say this, and not to discourage,
Yeah.
there's a lot of expense to that beach property because typically it doesn't, maybe not your primary residence, so you're not getting a homestead, and the insurance
Yeah,
can be a little
What?
tricky.
that's right.
But you know what? It's something that you enjoy. You'll get
Right.
lots of memories from your family, and that's just one of those things. You've got to make those decisions
Yeah.
personally. So
David Johnson is your Seminole County property appraiser. When are you running again?
not to 2004.
Sweet.
Right. So
Awesome.
2024. 2024.
Yeah. So we have some time.
We
You're
got
doing
some more
such a
time,
great
yeah.
job, man. Everyone in Seminole County is lucky to have you and your whole team. Really,
I
we're
appreciate
lucky
that.
to
I'm
have
lucky
you.
they have them. So.
Thank you for joining me here as always, Steve. Pleasure to finally meet you in person.
Pleasure to meet you as always.
Stay tuned for how to sell your horse coming up next, right? That's what we're going to be working
New
on.
episode.
Yeah, awesome job today, Steve. Tell everyone hello. Most importantly, thank you for joining me today. I love spending time with you. If you're looking to sell your house and you want to feature it right here on our show, easy to do so. Give me a call. If you want to get pre-approved, Dallas Lehman is still standing by. Same phone number, 407-205-0400. I'm attorney Justin Clark, and I'll see you next week, as always, on You Have Real Estate.
Just in case you haven't heard lately, mortgage rates are at historic lows. In my entire career, I have never seen them dip this low. Now may be your best time to own your dream home and stop throwing your hard-earned money away on rent, refinance to a lower rate to save money on your monthly mortgage payment, or pay off high-interest credit card and other debt. My name is Dallas Lehman, president of You Have Mortgage. No one knows when rates will begin to climb again, but they will and can go back up quickly. Call me today so we can tailor your historic rate and program. Our premier Under One Roof team is here to provide our very best for you.
Do you want to feature your home for free on our show? My name is Vivian Lehman with You Have Realty, and we've come up with a comprehensive marketing strategy to get your home sold quickly. Whether buying or selling, we have all the resources for your real estate transaction: builder, insurance, title, mortgage, and we might even know Justin Clark. All under one roof. Call us at 407-205-0400.
Hey Central Florida, it's Carter Burks here with Carter Water Home Solutions. Have you ever noticed how your water may have a smell to it or a bad taste? Well, that's not how water's supposed to be. It should be tasteless and odorless. It should be clear. And at Carter Water, we're here to help you find a way to make it that way. You can go to carterwater.com, request a free water test. No obligation, no pressure. For your no-cost, no-obligation water test, give us a call today at 407-205-0400 or go to carterwater.com. We'll be happy to come by.